The new film, Heaven is for Real, is coming to theaters April 16th. And it tells the story of a 4-year-old boy, Colton Burpo's near-death experience, where he says he visited heaven. Watch.
He's been out there staring for hours.
Is something wrong with Colton?
Why do you say that?
Sometimes he says weird things. I've been here.
I don't think we've been here before, pal.
You had a grandpa named Pop, right?
He died when I was about your age.
He's very nice.
You saw my grandfather? Where did you see him?
In heaven.
The film is based on the hit book, which sold 8 million copies and spent 3 years on the New York Times bestseller list. Todd, Sonia, and now 14-year-old Colton Burpo joined me live here on the set. Great to have all of you here. What an unbelievable story. Todd, let me start with you, because Colton had a burst appendix.
Yes, he did.
And so you rushed him to the hospital. Did he, quote, die in the way we understand when people's hearts stop?
Well, he never flatlined or coded, but talking to the surgeon, he said children that young, they have no warning. Vital signs don't fade. They're just there or they're gone. But he never did technically just flatline.
And Sonia, what was your first sign that Colton had an experience, unlike most kids dealing with a burst appendix?
Well, he told us stuff all along. It wasn't until July we were on a trip that he said the angels sang to him, and then he sat on Jesus' lap.
4 months later.
4 months later.
He said he sat on Jesus' lap.
Well, he was saying stuff before. We just weren't listening. We weren't paying attention.
That one got your attention.
Well, I mean, he was telling us stuff all along. We just were so emotionally, mentally strained. I mean, 17 days in the hospital really wipes you out.
Wow. Colton, you're 14 now. Do you still have a conscious memory of this experience?
Well, of my hospital stay and all the events leading up to it, that's a little foggy, but my experience in heaven is very vivid.
What do you remember about it?
Well, I remember just all of the people up in heaven. There were people, angels, animals, and they had so many things up there that you could do.
Do you remember, because we played in one of the clips, an episode where you said you met your sister? Can you tell us about that?
Well, I was entering through the gates of heaven, and this little girl came running out at me, and she gave me a hug. Now, when I was younger, I wasn't really the hugging type, so I was just sitting here, okay, who are you? Why are you touching me? And finally, she told me who she was, and it was just amazing, because she was finally glad someone from her family was up in heaven.
And yet, Sonia, he wasn't talking about his actual sister.
No.
Tell us.
He was talking about a baby had miscarriage between our first and third child, and we hadn't told about him. How do you tell a person that, how do you tell a child that a baby has died inside your tummy?
Because that's what she told you, that she had been in your mommy's tummy. Is that about when you started to believe him, Todd?
Well, right before then, he talked about leaving his body, and what really caught our attention at first is when he could tell us where we were and what we were doing while he was in surgery. Because how can anyone make that up? I tried to reason away what he was saying, but the scene where he said he saw me yelling at God and his mom in another room, he nailed all that first. That was the first thing.
That's not something he could have heard on his own while he was...
Not at all. You don't brag about anything like that to someone. My wife couldn't have told you where I was in that room yelling at God.
You know, so many people who are not religious, don't believe in an afterlife, will look at this and say, you believe that because you want to believe that, and you put ideas in Colton's head. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think just that picture of the Prince of Peace kind of disproves that. Here, Akiana comes from a family that's atheist and doesn't believe in God, and she made a picture at age 8, that depicted Jesus, and she never went to church.
Colton, does it change the way you lead your life now and the way you think about death?
I'm not really scared of death now because, first of all, I know what to expect, so I have that going for me. But another thing is, before I die, I want to be able to share as much as I can so I can bring as many people with me.
Over to the other good place.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good to see you all. We'll be checking out that movie for sure. All the best to you.
Good.
Thank you.